welcome to Nice for the IRONMAN World Championship men's race and a special edition of the IRONMAN Insider Podcast presented by Martin. I'm your host, Matt Lieto, and we're going to take this opportunity to sit down with some of our pre-race favorites just a few days out before the World Championship here in Nice, kind of get a little insight on how their prep has gone into the race and obviously how the race week is treating them, but get a little bit insight on what they're expecting to do on race day. So let's get to it and have some chats with some amazing athletes. Can't tell you how stoked I am to have our first podcast guest this week, Daniel Bækkegård. I tell it to you every year, but you are my favorite interview, and sorry everybody else that comes after. Daniel's definitely my favorite interview. Dude, good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
Dude, how cool is, we know Kona is very special in Ironman and triathlon, but how cool is it racing in Nice, and kind of like how different of a vibe is it coming to this town and being able, like, it's so much easier to be chill because it's just not this like spotlight on us, right? Like we kind of blend in a little bit more.
It's night and day. It's crazy how in Kona you do, like, it feels like athletes and Ironman are taking over the city, while here the city takes over Ironman. And I think it just in general, it just helps you to be a bit more relaxed and centered. I've had experiences on Kona where it's been like, I've been so stressed out because no matter where you go, there's some sort of reminder that you're gonna do a World Championships next week or this week, where here in Nice, it's the opposite. You don't really feel it the same way. So I really like it. It's really fun to race here, while I also feel an urge to go back to Kona.
Yeah, but is it, obviously, like, we know that the last year, few years has been a little bit more challenging for you. You haven't had like those, like your great results like we saw in WA in 2023. Does that change in atmosphere? Is it a little bit easier for you not to feel as much expectation or like hope, where Kona, it's like there's so much I know that you emotionally put on that race? Is it a little bit easier for you to be relaxed coming into this race, or still World Championship, same?
Nah, I still feel like it's kind of the same. Like the whole approach to the race is the same, and it is still a World Championships. And I remember feeling it as well in St. George, where it's not really, for me, it's still not really the location that makes it. It's just the fact that it's a World Championships. So the pressure is still the same, also put on myself, obviously. But I still feel like Kona is just different. Not only for being a smaller city and like the whole mythical situation around it, but also for just being that race. Like, it's that race everybody want to win. Yeah. While here everybody want to win it, but it's not that race in some weird way. It's a bit strange. It's a strange feeling to have towards the World Championships. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair, and it's just it's funny because it obviously is that World Championship, and like everybody wants that title, and like you look at Sam Laidlow when he won this race, like clearly everybody around him, the sport, and him realized and felt like it was a World Championship. Yeah. But there's something about the European atmosphere that just makes it seem more relaxed, because like, we were talking about before we started that, you could walk down the street and go get a pizza and you're not going to get a bunch of people like around you like wanting your autograph or wanting to talk about triathlon. It just feels like a little bit more laid back a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think it is like even it's also here, like I raced the European Championships in Frankfurt as well, and Frankfurt is also really different from these, also being a bigger city and stuff like that. I think actually because of Jan and Seipp as well, like Germany is just a hotspot for triathlon. So even in Frankfurt, you also have another vibe in terms of people knows, like a lot of people know triathlon and also knows who are racing and being competitive. While here it feels like Nice is not really that. Like there's a lot of other stuff that are interesting, and triathlon is not one of them. While you still see like it's an active city, and if you run down by the promenade, it's like there's so many people all the time running and being active and stuff like that. So it should be kind of appealing to people to know a little bit about Ironman, but yeah, apparently not.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is super active. And the last ride I did here, I haven't ridden here since I got here this year, but I saw 2 Tour de France champions on my hour spin. You know, like it's definitely an active space.
It's benefits of being close to Monaco, I think.
Totally, that's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
So, you know, obviously the last year, talk us through kind of what's been going on. Like you know, I think you told me that you weren't sure the end of last year, December, that you were going to be doing triathlon, and we know like it's never as easy of a journey as people on the outside think it is, right? But you've been pretty open about it being a struggle. What's been going on?
My body, basically. It's never been about not wanting to do triathlon. It was more a case of if my body would let me continue. And it was the last couple of years has been, I think all my good results came within a period of time where I was able to put out a lot of training consistently. All of a sudden I did some minor mistakes, not focusing enough on rehab and recovery, and I think I paid for it with 2 torn discus in my back, not knowing that was the cause. You know, as triathletes, it's very it is a lifestyle, like where you travel a lot or you have the opportunity to train a lot and race a lot of races around the globe, and obviously that's so cool. But at the same time, my body just couldn't handle it in terms of times on or hours spent on planes in airports and not being home, recovered and rested. So it ended up, I finally got a home and a place where I can relax and like settle down. I haven't had that for a couple of years. But then my back just gave in kind of, and had a whole year where I looked at it with my new coach, like the amounts of interrupted weeks is insane. And when you've had 2 years of that, obviously the shape is not going to be great. I raced really well in 2023 in Western Australia, even on like, because I was sick leading into Nice last time. I think I only had like 6 weeks of decent training into that, so I was definitely fit for Nice and ready for that. But then I think like going around the globe, not paying attention to proper rehab and treatment and stuff like that, that kind of snowballed into just a year of struggle, basically, trying to find my feet. And it was that case of like I went on a run and it would just hurt from the first step, and like the first time it was like, okay, after 15 minutes it kind of settled down and then I could like start running again properly. But then it became 20 minutes and 25 minutes and 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden I couldn't go for a run without having some sort of discomfort. And I was so stubborn that I kind of pushed through it, because obviously I have a lot of races I really want to perform at, and I want to race, and I want to be in the mix. And that was just like bad decisions on bad decisions. While here in December I started working together with Seipp, we had some chats about it. Like he spent a lot of time in St. Moritz, where I also live, and he could see that I was struggling, and he understands what athletes need, in not so much in training. Obviously, he also knows that, but like he's very all-rounded, and the fact that the whole circle around an athlete have to work in order to make a high performance happen, basically. And I thought like it would be cool to try something new. Basically, also have a coach nearby that could help me on a daily basis, because I haven't had that for some years, and that was where my former coach, he's like world class. That's like one-to-one coaching, and I really missed that. So trying out, going with Seipp, and from there I could just feel like it was other stuff he was focusing on. I created some stress in my head around training and hours and intensity and threshold and all kinds of shit. It's important, but it's not the most important. The most important is being healthy.
Yeah, it seems like he's a little bit of like a mad scientist in the like everybody assumes that it's very scientific and all that, but it's also feels like to me very holistic, and like the way that you found him, like to me I get excited hearing you say like kind of how that came together in town, like when it feels like a genuine connection that's like meant to happen. It feels easier, and it feels like something that was supposed to be. And I mean, those guys, and obviously like knowing what he's done with Laura and what Laura's done on her own, but like they have way more fun than anybody else. Like out on like the week of Nice last year, the amount of times I saw Laura and she's like huge waves, a huge smile, like it seems like holistically it's not just that training, it's kind of the purpose of the existence, right?
Yeah, because it's funny how I went into the I don't know, can call it collaboration, collaborating with Philip. I went into it and thought like, oh, he's going to show me a whole new way of training, because, you know, with Laura, he's done so good and stuff like that. The most unsexy thing about Philip is his training schedule.
Dude, but the boring coaches are the good coaches, right?
He saw all the flaws immediately in my setup, and how I approach things as well. Still an ongoing case, but that really struck me. And it's also cool to be a part of. Obviously, it's also hard sometimes working. He also have Rico Bogen, who is also a world champion like Laura. So I'm the only one missing that title.
No pressure
in the squad. But you know, it's really mind blowing how different he is to what I thought he would be, and at the same time, he is also the best thing that could happen to me, because he put in some new structure, and a lot of structure for an unstructured person. That's a gift, and also a curse sometimes. While, you know, not only fixing or helping me fixing my back and kind of put me on a recovery for that, but also basically fixing my career in terms of showing me the way of what is needed, and a plan of like how we're gonna get there. And I think that's what I struggled the most about, like not knowing, because of stress, because I didn't reach what I hoped to reach, and I wasn't in a position where I could train properly. Then that created that extra stress, while he took that away immediately. And then he's really German, so like I hear it if there is anything, and I actually really appreciate that. Yeah. Even though I can hate his guts sometimes, I really appreciate like him being strict on what is needed.
He gives it to you straight?
100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's got to help too, like obviously, especially going into this race specifically, and seeing what Laura has become in the last 10 years as an Ironman athlete, like the fastest ever world champion, like she's crushing it. Like that has to give you a confidence. They accomplished the goal of winning a world championship on this course last year. Does that give you a little bit of confidence coming in, even though the last few years haven't been as smooth as you'd like?
Not really. It didn't really give me confidence in seeing Laura, because I also knew Laura before. And to be honest, I was like, I was out having dinner with Laura and Philip before World Championships last year here in Nice, and I was like, we were just talking and having fun, and I was like, it's just a question of time, a matter of time before you achieve it.
Totally.
Like, because I didn't know her that well before. And then I think 3 weeks or 4 weeks later, she nailed it here. And obviously you've seen it, because I wasn't really aware of how like consistently good she's been throughout the years, and that's actually insane.
Yeah.
When she chose to finish the start line, her palmares is really impressive. So it wasn't really the fact that he made Laura, or they made Laura do well. It was more like he shows how, like, I know a lot of people within the sport, they are a lot of talks, while Philip, he shows it. He doesn't really talk that much, to be honest.
Yeah.
The only problem I see about that is that I don't think he actually gets the recognition he deserves for what he's doing. And a lot of people who talk a lot get a lot of recognition for what they're not doing. But it's also been something I've seen firsthand. Like, people have not seen how he treats me in the strength room. Like doing training sessions, and like how he's coaching me to not only be a better athlete, but actually being an athlete, and also being a good boyfriend, and being a good son. And as you said, he's really holistic, and it's not about, like, his life is not about me winning the world championships. Like, obviously that's our goal, and that's what we're gonna achieve, but for him it's just as important that the whole Daniel is functioning, and taking that kind of ego away of another world title, I think is long term a really positive thing, and something like he should have way more credit to actually do.
Yeah, funny, you're breaking news here that there's coaches in this sport that are more talk than actual results. But it's funny because, like, whenever somebody comes to me and asks about a coach, or questions about future coaches, or it's always, okay, who is nobody talking about?
Yeah.
Right? And like, I think you're right. I think when Philip first kind of came on the scene with Laura, like, there was a lot of talk, but it almost seems like he avoids that attention as much as possible. And that's generally, those are the coaches that are doing good things. So, dude, back to this course and this race. Obviously, you've got a world championship in a few days, and I want to like get a little bit of insight for those listening on just how challenging this course is. And people we know the bike course is ridiculous, and then people look at the run and they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be fast and whatever. But if you were here, like, watching this race 2 years ago, it was like a bomb went off. You're like, why is, or like, I remember Matthew Marquardt, it looked like he was trying to survive, and he was 10th place. Like, it looked as challenging as the last 10K of Kona, right? Like, what is so hard about this course?
I remember just in 2019 racing world championships here on the 70.3. That was only a half marathon.
Yeah.
And that was like, and not even the whole bike course. Like, obviously we went up Col Vence. That was brutal to run. And I think, like, you can say what you want about the Kona course, but there's a little bit of like obviously change of scenery, but also it's a bit more rolling. And sometimes in an Ironman that actually helps you because it's not, steady flat all the time. While here in Nice, it's like completely flat, and you have no like change of rhythm, change of anything that can relieve you of a little, like mentally just give you a little bit of a break. You're on all the time. And I think like coming in after, I don't even have words to describe the bike, but I think it's going to be one of the most spectacular races on the bike we've seen in an Ironman triathlon ever. When you come in to T2 after that, dude, like, yeah, dude, obviously I haven't tried it before, so I can only imagine. Like,
and it's the course, but it's also like tactically in other races you have like, okay, you're gonna get out of the swim, you're gonna try to be in the group and let other people do the work. But here you're like, okay, right away, let's have all the fittest athletes in the sport go up this hill as hard as they can.
Yeah.
Like
and then going on the plateau afterwards where people are also gonna fire 100%. And like, I think that's the beauty of having like another location, and especially a course like this once in a while, like at a World Championships, because we have no clue.
Yeah.
In Kona, you still have some kind of clue on what's going to happen.
There's a recipe.
So we know what to kind of work for, and then it's the one who is best prepared and can execute the best plan possible on the day that is going to win.
Yeah.
While here, like obviously we saw how Sam rode it a couple of years ago, but just because he rode it like that a couple of years ago, the sport have changed so much. We have no clue if that's the right recipe this time. Yeah. And like, you can go up Col de Lecha with 420 watts and like just go nuts. But you also have a run on the promenade afterwards. And I think like the whole cocktail of what, like the fact that we don't know how the race is going to be, we don't know what the kind of the best moves are before kilometer 30 on the run. Like there's so many unknowns that it's just like you have to race your own race and make the race on your terms, otherwise you're going to be effed. And it's not how people usually rides World Championships. And I think people who are not prepared for that is gonna. I think people are gonna struggle if they do like ride over what is actually possible and stuff like that. But it's also it could also be that I'm wrong, that you just have to freaking send it up Col de Lecha, because you have a gnarly descent down again where you can get a little bit of a rest, at least physically, because mentally you're going to be on. I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's we don't know, and that's one thing that I love about this course. And for you coming in, obviously World Champs haven't gone to plan for you in the last bit of years since St. George, really. Mm-hmm. And this transition you've had this year, what for you at the end of the day, looking back at the race day that you had, what will you have had to have done to be pleased with your performance and where you've come from this last year?
To be honest, I come here to get answers on exactly that. That's what I'm going to race for, to get an answer on where I am in the world. And like, I'm going to race as good as I can to my capabilities and make the race on my terms. I think that's also kind of the beauty here, that you can actually decide to race on your terms and do like race to your strengths. And I'm gonna try that, and then we'll see. Obviously, I have a goal of reaching the top 5 here. If I do that, then I've beaten quite a lot of strong dudes. So I would be really happy with that. But if I still feel like I have done everything I can on race day and then ending up in 12th, then that is how it is. I know where I came from a year ago, and to be here and racing in my current condition, then that's also a pretty big win. And I see it more long term than just that race. So my approach to it is a bit different than what it's been before, and I think that's also gonna help me the last 10 kilometers on the run.
Well, dude, I know personally I've always had you as a high pick going into World Championships, because I think when you're firing, and especially now knowing that holistically Philip's gotten you firing, all around a little bit better, you're someone to look out for and to watch, and you can't wait to watch you race on Sunday, and appreciate you sitting down and chatting with us.
Thanks a lot, mate. I appreciate it. It was nice being here.
And our next guest on the podcast for race week is a guy that has a little bit of expectations. Kristian Blummenfelt, what's going on, man?
Good. Nice to be here. Finally, race week again. It's like a day or a week I've been waiting for a long time now. Like the whole season, I've basically been building up towards this one, and been spending quite a bit of time here in Nice now. Had 5 weeks here on the camp in January, February, and been here already for 2 weeks now. So it will be like basically a 2-month preparation in the course before the race. So feeling that I'm quite familiar with the course, and excited to see how it can turn out on Sunday.
And considering your season so far, I'd say it's pretty scary saying you've been building towards this race. Season's gone pretty well so far.
Yeah, or at least trying to build towards it, because it's difficult when you're in pretty good shape already in April and March, to build much more from that. But I was quite pleased with the session I had 1 week ago. I was a little bit cooked yesterday, but should be enough time to recover coming into next week. So
what was the session?
It was basically doing 90% of the bike course. And yesterday we were supposed to do 30k off the run, but I was just empty, so I could hit short after 9 or 10k. But the week before was some of the stronger I've felt on those Ironman specific training sessions. So I just need to recover enough now for the next couple of days and refuel, and hopefully I should be fit to go on Sunday. But it's a really beautiful course, and it has sort of a little bit of everything. You have some steep climb, you have the long climb, 50 minutes or so early on the bike, and then you have the flat section, you have technical descents where you can drop people as well, and you have especially the last 50k, it's sort of rolling down a little bit of turns, and if you are able to really be comfortable in the course, if you feel that you know the turns well in your mind, then you can really be recovering well before the run. And likewise, if you feel like that is a bit scary, if you're a little bit out of control and feeling that you have to ride with your heart up in your throat, then I guess even though you're not pedaling too much power in the downhill, it can really take out a lot of your legs, because out of the turns you have to really accelerate, and it can be easy to forget to do the hydration and nutrition there and get the calories in. So if you're doing that hour without paying attention on your nutrition, then it might sting you when you get onto the run. And it's a beautiful course, beautiful location.
Yeah, and you obviously weren't able to race here 2 years ago, so kind of first experience in that prep and obviously racing on Sunday. What about the bike course? Did anything surprise you by it, or is there anything that people are underestimating? I know for me that last climb on the descent, people forget about that. That's pretty gnarly. Is there anything to you that stands out?
I did race here in 2019, so I feel I got the sort of atmosphere back then, and sort of the feeling and the hype around the city, and yeah, it's one of the favorite races ever since. Even though I just fell short of the podium, like I came fourth in that race, and so it's not like a big surprise that the course is. I think I learned early that it's not twice the climbing, even though it's twice the distance on the bike. So yeah, it's a really good course where you can do a lot of damage, both on your competitors but also on yourself. So I remember back in 2019, I was then I raced short course the week before and just jumped on the TT bike like race week, and yeah, maybe a mistake I did back then, because then on top of Col d'Avance I was like cramping up in my quads, and I was looking down on the computer and realizing it was 60k left of the bike before the run, and I was already smashed. So I think it would be important to tolerate going like at the high power on those climbs, because it's not like the typical race pace power over the 4 hours you're doing there. It's closer to threshold, and then maybe a little bit lower power like in the flat sections and the rolling terrain. So it will be important to tolerate those sort of spikes in the climb.
Yeah, and it's also, though, it's racing, right? Like with the amount of talented athletes that are here and the way the course sets up, like maybe talk a little bit about the fact that like you can have a plan, but it's not necessarily always up to you, because that racing mind of, you know, if Sam goes up the road, like, will you respond? Like,
yeah, you have
question, right?
You have Sam Laidlow who's probably going to do aggressive racing again, and as we saw in Leeds and in Roth, that he's back into some pretty good shape, as well as you have always younger athletes coming through during the first IRONMAN World Championship. Jamie Riddle, Jonas Schomburg, two both phenomenal swim bikers. I would say it's almost been a little bit surprised to see how strong they've been riding over the full distance. But yeah, they've been adapting it really, really good. They might come a little bit short on the run, but they can definitely play like a factor on the swim and bike, and not help Sam, but like create that dynamic. So yeah, it's but hopefully there will be strong guys behind as well that's gonna help sort of around me as well. And I guess the intensity in the water is going to be really on, because I guess both Jamie and Jonas is keen to open up that gap and really put pressure on the swim. So yeah, it's going to be a challenging day.
Yeah, do you think, you know, we know your swim at Frankfurt, you missed that front group, and I think probably those competitors specifically are like hoping that you have a swim like that, right? Like, is that in your head, like that the swim is important in a different way than normal, or is it kind of same?
I think the great thing with Ironman is that even though you're far down on the swim, you still have like a long day ahead of you. And of course I hope to have a great swim and be in control early on. But both in Frankfurt and also in St. George in the World Championship there in 2021/22, I had like an awful swim, like 2.5 minutes down, and still managed to sort of keep cool and collected, and won that race by sort of just letting the time go by and sort of riding with the people I had around me. And yeah, Cam Wurf was basically saving my day back then. He's also in this race, so as long as I'm in front of Cam and Magnus Ditlev, like, there are still guys to ride with if I'm further down. So it's more important to not kill yourself on that bike course and be sure that I can run like a 2:30 off the bike, because then if I'm doing 8 to 10 minutes quicker than some of the Uber bikers, it's a lot of damage that can be done on the run as well. And in the same way, I might think that I can't lose that gap, or that gap can't open up too much on the first 100k off the bike. The same mentality, just opposite, goes towards Sam. Like, he needs to open up that gap, so he's riding with the pressure on early on, and every time he's getting time splits on the course, he needs to, or for his mind that the race is going into his favor, he needs to open up the gap. So every time the timing split is sort of not changing, that's sort of going to my favor again.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's I was just talking to Dinner Bækkegård about how this run course is kind of underestimated, because it looks flat, so you're like, okay, fast times, but you just said, you need to run a 2:30 or want to run a 2:30. Do we think that run split is possible? Obviously, we know you can run that fast. And do you think people are underestimating the fact that some athletes will be able to run 2:30s?
I think everyone thinks that it's doable. Like you saw people been sort of starting to break 2:30 already, but it depends how easy they do it on the bike, if they are not there, So for me, it's not a goal itself to run that quick. Like I would rather be in control coming into T2 and be able to go the first 15, 20K a little bit more controlled. But it's also nice to know that I have the capabilities of going that fast. And we saw even last year in Kona, I think we all stressed a little bit with Sam Laidlow getting those 8 or 9 or 10 minutes gap into T2. And still Patrick Lange, with the experience he had, he was able to not just catch him but also open up another 5-minute gap to second place. So he won by a lot. So that's also important to keep in the mind, that the race is not over until it's over, even though it's maybe you're more likely to fall apart in Kona because of the heat and humidity, and also it's a little bit like a more challenging run course. It's rolling and a little bit more lonely out there on Queen K and in the NG Lab. So here, if you're in the front, if you're French like Sam Laidlow and you're in the lead, I think you will be carried around the course, and that's going to give you a little bit more energy. So I just hope that the French spectators is saving a little bit for me as well.
Dude, I love that. Yeah, and it's funny because I think the Ironman distance can be a bit of a poker match, right? Like who's got the energy when, and playing your cards when you're capable of it. I've heard some rumors that you like playing mind games on the run. I hear you
Who said that?
Oh, everybody. That's all they're talking about. You act like you're breathing hard, things are tough, but you really get do you have any tricks up your sleeve like that?
Not really, It's it all comes down to who is having something left, in the pocket for the run. So, but yeah, I guess you're all sort of, it's sort of a fight to get through it mentally, no matter who you are. If you're having a good day or bad day, I think everyone who is racing on Sunday have had a brutal day out there before, so they all can sort of relate to how it feels struggling just to finish. And the same is if you're winning the race, you will sort of hit the wall at some point of the race. The question mark is just how close to the finish line you're running empty, and before you have to sort of start fighting to survive.
And so we know this is kind of the last opportunity to race in Nice for a world championship before we go back to Kona. Obviously, you won your first Ironman World Championship in St. George. You seems like you put a lot of effort and focus into this race. Are you excited to have one last opportunity?
Yeah. I thought it was a great opportunity. When the Kona and Nice split happened, I can sort of understand the history and sort of the history in the sport, that everyone wants to go to Kona, and especially for the age groupers, and especially it's important to bring the male and female together again. But just in terms of the course, I found it really inspiring to have two different challenging. You can go 1 year really focusing on the crosswind condition in Kona and the heat and humidity and sort of what you need to do there in order to win that race, and then you can do 1 year really trying to understand how to tackle this course and the uphill, the downhill, and it's really makes it more challenging being an athlete, and that's also something that I find joyful with the training. And I think if I just had to do one or pick one of the courses that I thought would suit me better, I think actually the course in Hawaii is suiting me better, simply because it's more just down to power, and it's maybe an easier course in terms of getting into the run, while I do enjoy the challenge of getting fit and ready for the climb here.
Awesome. Well, sweet, man. Looking forward to watching your race on Sunday, and best of luck. Thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Okay, and our next guest, Race Week podcast leading into Nice World Championships, Gustav Iden. What's going on, man?
Yeah, just had a morning run and feeling a bit tired, but everything else is good.
So you just told me that I didn't know this, but you're a motorcycle rider.
Yeah, so you had a Kawasaki hat on, and I just had to say that at home I don't even have a car. I'm just riding my Kawasaki around at home. So Kawasaki Ninja 650. You said you had a 250.
Dude, why you gotta say that?
Because
Emasculating me on my
yeah,
podcast.
I need to bring down others to build myself up, you know. That's how the world works.
It is.
You can't get money unless you take money.
Well, you've taken my pride,
Yeah.
but that's okay. We'll get it back. Do you ever obviously we know because of 2019 World Championship that technically you're a very good bike rider,
Yeah.
right? Do you feel like you get more skill on riding a road bike or TT bike by riding a moto?
You get more comfortable with speed, and especially high speed corners. But I don't think it doesn't have a major crossover. But I think it's more like people who ride motorbikes are more interested in speed in the first place.
Yeah.
So I think it's a certain type of people who ride motorbikes. And maybe that plays a bigger role than the crossover effect.
That's funny. And yeah, I mean, now thinking about that World Championship, and you know, when you won that World Championship, I was here on course being like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Right? Like I knew who you were, but like you surprised
Yeah.
a lot of people, right? Maybe not yourself. And then a lot has happened since then, right? Like you've got that Ironman World Championship title under your belt. You've obviously last season or two hasn't been maybe what you've wanted, although obviously it seems like you're getting more like yourself. Explain the difference in feeling versus Nice, you being in Nice race week in 19 and you being there now.
Yeah, it is pretty big of a shift. Like obviously it's also 6 years ago, so I changed quite a lot as a person, but also like the whole situation around me has changed. Before the race in 2019, I was riding up Col de Vence with Kristian, and then it was Kristian just won the grand final the week before in Lausanne, and I came fourth, and fourth there was an amazing performance also for me. And I got the question at the top by a guy who wanted a photo of Kristian if I'm racing as well. And yeah, I don't usually get the same questions now, but yeah, I still feel like, I wouldn't say like I'm underdog now, definitely not in the same way as in 2019, but having won in 22 and kind of not have been doing too much since, I feel like still I'm not the main favorite in everyone's eyes, but I do think that I have a great chance of winning this race.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, because I think in the last 2 years I haven't heard you say that.
Yeah.
Right? And that, like, honestly, that gets me excited to hear you in that space. And it's taken a lot, I imagine, for you to get back there. But it seemed like the advantage that you had then and when you won a world championship was kind of the group of people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Like, is that part of the reason, like knowing that I know you had a better workout yesterday than Kristian did, and Kristian's the hands-on favorite? Like, does that still help you get that confidence where you can say, like, you know you have a chance?
Yeah, I think we kind of simpled down things over the last year. And then it's just me, Kristian and Casper basically at all times, every single session, making our own program and doing everything ourselves. It's a very hands-on approach for our side. And yeah, if you want something done, you kind of have to do it yourself. But yeah, it is definitely who you surround yourself with that's a great key to performance. And yeah, yesterday we did like the main parts of the bike course, not a bit at the promenade, but basically everything else. And then we ran 3 times 9K at approximate race pace. And I had an amazing session. Kristian was struggling a little bit, but for kind of different reasons. But yeah, had ran 3:37 for the first 9K, 3:30, and then 3:24 pace. So yeah, if I'm able to do my pacing kind of like that on race day, I think it's going to be hard to beat me.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, honestly, I get super pumped hearing you have confidence again, right?
Yeah.
Like, and tell us about that. Like the journey of a professional athlete from the outside looks like an easy one and charmed life.
Yeah.
But even when you're racing well, there's still always like self-doubt that comes in.
Yeah.
How have you dealt with the fact that clearly, again, in 2 years of conversation with you, you've never said, I think I can win this race on the weekend. Like, how has that struggle and that journey been for you?
Yeah, in up until 2022, I feel like everything was such a smooth sailing, and I didn't have any like major problems. I had like a long period of sickness in 2018, but other than that, it was basically nothing. Everything has been going smoothly, and I think from 2019 to 2022, I won every single non-draft event that I was racing. I think it was 10 events in a row. It was like I didn't even finish second. Like I won every single one, and it's pretty insane to go from that to not being able to finish Kona and being on the sideline here in 23 and just crashing out in Singapore and just like I won one race in a challenge in Finland, but other than that, it's been like it's basically been nothing. So to go from winning everything to win nothing, it's been challenging, especially when a lot of my personality has been like, I'm a winner, you know. That's like, I felt like a winner my whole life, and then suddenly I haven't won anything, and I wouldn't say I felt like a failure, but it's a lot of your identity as an athlete that hangs on with how you perform, and it's not healthy, but it's also necessary to do what it takes to win again. I think if you're kind of if you don't really care outside of sports how you finish, it's hard to do what it takes. So you kind of have to be disappointed when you, and not just disappointed in the moment, but you kind of have to let it play with your life like for a month or 2 months if you kind of perform bad, because that's when you truly reflect on how to become better. And now I had close to 3 years to reflect on what it takes to be a winner and how to be there again. And it would be good to be on top on Sunday, but it's not that I necessarily will be disappointed if I didn't win, but it has a lot to do with how I feel like the race is going my way. If I finish second and I feel like I had a great performance, of course I will be happy. Maybe even like a 5th place can be good if I feel like I actually had a good performance. But it's not like I come here to finish 5th, you know, but I wouldn't say I would definitely be disappointed if I didn't win, but yeah, I'm here to win.
That's awesome, man. And do you think, you said that your identity was a winner before, and obviously you've gone through that period where you haven't. Do you think, looking back in a few years, do you think this period of time has made you or will have made you a better athlete and maybe more well-rounded, or have learned some things that allow you to beat these guys now? Or would you rather not have had that?
I would rather not. Like, it would be cool to go out my whole career winning everything, but I mean, I guess this is also maybe prolonging my career even further. Like if I go until I'm like 33, winning everything, and then I had like a wave of disappointment, maybe I won't be able to kind of handle it and just call it quits then. But when you're 27, 26, like I feel like it's a bit too early to kind of quit your career. So maybe it's prolonging my career, I don't know. It's hard to look back, and also you just have to accept things that have been. Like one of the stupidest things is kind of over-reflect on the past too much. Like you should learn from your past, but you shouldn't kind of think you could have changed anything of the outcome, because maybe if I swam harder in Kona I would be in a pack, and if I was in a pack more, then maybe I could have relaxed better, and then I could maybe run better. But then I can also cook myself even further. So it's like the outcomes is so complex that I think you just have to accept what has been.
Yeah, awesome. So this race, course is dynamic in a lot of different ways, but it finishes on a run course that theoretically should be quite fast, but obviously the race that brings you to that point is challenging. What do you think will like what kind of run do you think needs to happen on Sunday for you or somebody else to win this race?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it is a super fast run course, but it is so dependent on the race dynamics. I guess Laidlow and Schomburg and a lot of other athletes will try to make it a really, really tough ride, and I'm ready for that tough ride, and of course it will impact the run quite a bit, but having the downhill towards the end where, yeah, I don't think I will, I can't really say what my tactics are for sure, but I will try to kind of relax, I think, in the downhill and kind of flush out the legs a little bit and be ready for a super fast run, because basically all of the uphills are in the first half of the bike. So I think I will be able to kind of get the good run legs even off a really hard bike here. Yeah. But yeah, sub 230 is not going to be it's not going to be a surprise that it's sub 230.
You think so?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm excited to see that happen. And you know, you and Kristian obviously support each other a lot in training, as well as Kasper. But we know you guys kind of like mess around with each other a little bit too.
Yeah.
Does that end on race day, or do you still have like some tricks up your sleeve against?
Yeah, I think Kristian he does a lot of mind tricks, but I think he mostly do it to himself. Like he is building his confidence by tricking himself a bit more. But I think it's going to start the second half of the run. I think that's when it's really, really. That's when you realize that I'm not going to beat the other just by being better. I have to actually kind of outmaneuver the other. And you don't want to come down to a sprint finish usually. You kind of want it settled before that, because a sprint finish is more like, I wouldn't say a coin flip, but it's a little bit more coin flip than doing it earlier on. So yeah, when you feel like it's not a certain victory, that's when the kind of desperation comes in. And when desperations come, then also the friendship kind of goes a little bit out the window.
Yeah, and is there any, like, it's unspoken that like whatever happens on race day is
not whatever, no. I think we need to play each other up and play on each other a little bit. So it's not, things can happen on race course that is kind of a little bit unforgivable. If you actively trying to destroy my race or something, it's not like the race is finished and I'm just gonna forgive you. Like, yeah, I mean, a race is a race, but it's still like, yeah. So I hope everyone, and not just me, Kristian and Kasper, but like everyone should be racing fair. Of course, it's allowed to be smart, but like unfair racing, it's still, for me, unforgivable.
That's fair enough. So Norwegian hype train, how many in the top 3?
Like, we have done 1 to 3 before a couple of times. It's definitely possible, but it's such a long day. An Ironman, it's like anything is possible, but still it's going to be a lot of luck and performance to make it happen. But it can happen, 1 to 3. So, but it's not like I would spend or like put down a lot of money to for that bet to come through. But yeah, it definitely can happen.
Awesome. And top 5? All 3 in the top 5?
Yeah, as I said, like top 3, top 5 is like not a huge difference, so it's still going to be challenging. Like, yeah, I talked myself into, like, yeah, last year in Kona, I was like, I'm happy to be on the start line, I started with. And then throughout the race week, I talked myself into maybe having a top 5, you know? And I didn't even finish, so I don't want to talk us into a top 3, even though I do still think it's possible. And I still think I can win here, but I don't want to talk myself into like a guaranteed victory, but it's definitely possible.
And so for you, What do you have to do right to win this race on Sunday?
I think the swim is most likely not going to be first pack. But I have kind of dealt with that already a little bit. And I think I will rather have a relaxed, fast swim than a stressful, super hard swim. So try to be composed up until like the hill starts on the bike, and from there on really start pushing hard on the bike, and then try to recuperate a little bit towards the end of the bike, and then run insanely fast. That is basically the tactics.
That's it, insanely fast, sub
Yeah.
2:30.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Awesome, dude. Looking forward to watching and seeing you run that sub 2:30 on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll try.
Thanks for chatting.
Thank you.
Awesome. It's great chats with those athletes, getting a little bit into their mindset on what the energy level is. For me, I was most excited, you could probably tell, getting and seeing that excitement and confidence from Gustav we haven't seen in a few years. So I'm excited to see if that translates into possibility of him winning on Sunday, but he's got a lot of athletes he needs to get across that finish line in front of to do so. But keep an eye on this space. We got a lot more good conversations coming to you from the Ironman World Championships here in Nice for the Ironman Insider presented by Morton. I'm your host, Matt Lieto. Thanks so much for listening in.